Hi, this is Natalie Clack from JustBE Coaching Company in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm the head life coach, trainer, and natural health practitioner. This is my show, Natural Self-Help Tools for the Busy Entrepreneur. I would like to thank you for joining us because today we have an incredible guest with us, and that is Dawn Bennett from Touch Remedies. She is an accredited certified EFT tapping practitioner, a relationship and intimacy coach. She's a vibrant and playful entrepreneur who knows that your success and sanity is built upon healing the subtle parts of you that have learned ideas such as you aren't good enough, that people aren't going to like you if, and that you're only successful if. Those and other beliefs prevent us from being successful in following our passions, from making profit, and from finding a healthy work or life balance. A best-selling Amazon author and a part-time digital nomad, Dawn has dedicated herself to lifelong learning so she can help herself and other busy people have better self-worth, better relationships, and better businesses. Her main business now is as an emotional freedom techniques practitioner, also known as EFT tapping, and that is the focus of the self-help she wants to bring to you today. I also just want to add that she's also one of my top healers for the Oracle Awakening Retreat, which will be taking place on the 28th of April. So you get to come and experience her firsthand. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, Dawn. Welcome to the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I think it's so exciting. EFT is one of the most exciting and profound methods of therapy that I have used myself. So tell the audience about yourself and your business, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I've been in business for 23 years and I started out as a massage therapist. Well, I still am technically, but I was working a lot with car accident patients and realized that so much of their pain was coming from the emotional loss that they'd experienced, right? They're not being able to work, their life changes, the chronic pain. And I started exploring that concept and found Peter Levine's work, Waking the Tiger, and about how the body stores emotions in the body, how the body stores emotions, and how really this, in order to fully heal, we need both the body-mind connection, which led me into a path of doing craniosacral therapy and doing a lot of somato-emotional work with them. But then I was like, I want to do more. And I became a classical homeopath. And I was like, this is amazing. And then everything was all like me having to help people, which was great. But I wanted to empower people to be able to do some of the healing work themselves beyond just, okay, do this breath work or do this journaling or do this, besides like homework assignments. I wanted something powerful people could do on their own. And then I found EFT tapping and I was like, this is what I've been looking for, something that they can work the day-to-day themselves. They can really be empowered. They can make really big changes. And then they come to me for the deeper stuff, the hidden beliefs, the things that are unseen, the things that are too scary to work with on our own. So then I get to support them in a really, really deep way, but they get to do the work as well. So it's such a good way of creating synergy. And that's what I really love. And relationships are my niche because I just believe everyone wants to love and be loved. And so it really drives me to help people connect more deeply with themselves so they can connect with their friends, their family, their partners in whatever way feels good for them.
Oh, I love that. It just speaks to my heart to hear your journey and all the tools you've learned. And, helping people is just such an exciting thing. And when you slowly learn all of these self-help tools and you realize just how easy they are to learn and incorporate, and you just need somebody who's going to turn the key, open the door, and show you the how. And then once you start getting into making a daily practice, it becomes easier to do. And you actually almost do it instantaneously, standing in a queue. I've even used tapping techniques. And it's helped me considerably with getting cross and irritated. And, it's not something I'm not really a very cross person, but I do definitely have moments when I'm triggered, like everybody
Don't we all?
else.
Yes.
Absolutely. So tell me, what do you use to assist you daily to deal with hurdles that come your way as an entrepreneur in this busy, fast-paced environment?
I would say my two biggest are, well, probably three. Breath, I think I do a lot unconsciously where I'm like, okay, just like refocus now, like it's okay. Movement is also actually big for me. Like if I find myself getting irritable, I will stand up and I will go for a little walk or I will move And then tapping as well. So like the subtle tapping where like I'm on a meeting and I'm just kind of stealth tapping or rubbing the points a little bit, like, oh, that's really interesting. But if nobody else is around, then I literally like, okay, I'm really feeling irritated. I'm really frustrated with this. Why is Zoom not working right now? I really need to calm down because Zoom is not working and it's really frustrating, and it really helps me kind of just come back in the moment. It helps my brain get out of that fight, flight, like, and get back into my body so I can really be present, which then, as you know, and when you're more present in your body, your solutions come. Whereas if all you're thinking about is the problem, it's hard to find solutions, especially creative, positive, powerful ones. Absolutely. So I'd say those are my 3 biggest go-tos. Yeah.
I love that. And, I didn't even think about it on a conscious level. I mean, you do immediately do the PSI plan. There's no doubt then when something upsets me and I can't cope, the first thing I do is close up and go for a walk. So you don't even think about it. And tapping all the way through the Zoom just now. Why didn't I think of that? Because after all, if there's one thing that the crystal structure of your laptop doesn't like, it's when you start getting upset. I've noticed you can crash your actual laptop, you can cause more disruption with your Wi-Fi, and it actually stops you from coming in. It takes even longer. The more you get upset, the more the lights start to flash and it just won't connect. So yeah, all about the crystal and the energy, right?
Exactly. And sometimes it's being like, work, I demand you work. Where's all my energy? It's like, no.
Somebody didn't give us that Mary Poppins flick.
Right? Oh man.
Anyway, Dawn, can you tell us what challenges have you experienced as a busy entrepreneur and what tools have you used to overcome them?
Yeah, so it's funny because I feel myself getting emotional already because I'm in a big transition right now. I'm doing, as I mentioned, some part-time digital nomading, and I'm also switching my practice. Massage has been my core base for a really long time, and I have really strong relationships with those people, and I just love them so much. And now I'm on the road a lot, right? So as I'm transitioning into doing a lot of online work, doing a lot of tapping work, doing a lot of relationship work, like I also really miss those people. And I think, so my challenge sometimes is as I'm making these big transitions, especially when the transitions aren't working smoothly, right? Like I'm not getting enough tapping clients online, so I quote unquote have to go home when really I want to go home anyway. So it's I would say like the biggest challenges I've run into in my business are like big, for me, like connection of relationships, right? So I used to have just a massage and wellness center. I had 13 employees and I was burning out, and I realized that I was ready for something different, but I didn't want to give up my baby, and I didn't want to like let go of all the 13 employees, and I didn't want them to be jobless, right? And I really had to take a couple of months. I was asking people and I was crying a lot. And this is before I knew tapping, so it was extra stressful, like I had nothing. I was like calling all my healers, like, please help me. I'm just a hot mess. I don't know what to do, so for me, it's really about settling into my body and my heart and like what's really best long term. Like, yeah, these people need me a lot, but they will survive without me, as much as my ego doesn't want to know that. And just trusting, for me, it's also about trust, right? So number one, being in my body and like, what is it that my heart truly wants and how am I going to get there? And number two, that I don't always get to decide the timing, right? Like I was really frustrated because I wasn't getting enough clients or fast enough. My business wasn't progressing, and I was doing all the work and all the things and all the stuff and 60 hours of work a week and just really pushing and frustrated. And maybe I'm not doing it right. And, all that self-talk we get into as entrepreneurs. And I'm going to go watch a video on how to do this better because obviously I'm not doing, and then really like, I was like, screw it. Like I need a break. And I went out in the desert and I visited a friend. And then I had like 3 clients call me that week, like out of the blue. Like one was from California. A therapist said, find an EFT practitioner. She found me online, called me up, became my client. It's like, oh, so when I just sit back and allow, like sometimes we forget, I think as entrepreneurs, that it's a combination of doing and being. Like sometimes we just have to sit back and be in our bodies and be in ourselves and just trust that like sometimes it's just about divine timing, right? We can't force something to happen super fast. And I think for me, when I'm struggling and when I'm trying to overcome something in a business situation, it's a combination of doing and being, right? Just where's the fear maybe getting in my way? Where's my self-talk getting in my way? Where's, especially as an American, right? Where's the American drive to do getting in my way? Because of course you're not important if you're not doing all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that that's my thing. That's how I overcome. And then getting support from my friends, family, and my other healers is really, really key for me.
Wow, I like that. That speaks to so many aspects that I struggle with myself. Here in South Africa, we always have to be the most passionate, and we always have to show up that much harder, that much stronger, that much longer to prove that we can actually be as good as a first world country, because we're a third world country and we just have to do more to fit in and to find a place amongst the higher echelons of society. And we drive ourselves into our grave. And like you say, we forget to just be, and that there's time for self-care. There's time to just take a breath. And I hear you. I'm always trying to upskill. If I feel I don't know something, I'm immediately the first person on Allison.com to go and find another diploma, understand networking so I can help a networking client. I mean, I'm doing a rollout, but I'm going to have staff that are going to do it. But surely I need to know exactly what the ins or outs are. Otherwise, how can I manage the project and give my client my best? So from healing too, I mean, I hear you with the massage. It's the opportunity to have your client right there. COVID took away our ability to be in person. It's really been quite a struggle, I must say. So geez, yeah, challenges.com. What can I say?
Right.
Okay, so tell me, would you say that the tools that you use are easy to learn and use and incorporate into your daily life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I teach my clients to do it all the time, right? Like our first session together is, let's spend a half an hour. I'm going to teach you how to tap. And it's like, yes, not all tapping is emotional freedom techniques. I want to be clear about that. Like if you go onto YouTube, there's a lot of tapping stuff that's not EFT. Or there's a lot of really generalized stuff where people are like, oh, I'm feeling, my anxiety about finances. I'm feeling anxious about finances, right? And it doesn't work because your brain's like thinking about all the times that you've been anxious about finances. Like when you're 4 and you didn't have money for a candy bar, and the time you were, 25 and you like accidentally spent your car payment. Now you don't have your car payment or whatever, and what am I going to do for my rent payment next month? It thinks about all the times it's too much and it's overwhelming. But when we focus on one thing at a time, just like in our business, the brain clears it, right? So I teach people how to focus in, like, what is it that's really making you irritable, anxious, sad? And maybe it is right now. Maybe right now it is, I'm just sitting here and I'm feeling anxious and I can just tap on that. But maybe it's about yesterday's meeting. Well, what about yesterday's meeting is making me feel stupid? Okay, well, it's the look I got from my supervisor. Okay, well, now I'm tapping on that. I'm not tapping on the whole meeting, which may be really complex and maybe overwhelming for my brain and make me more sad or more anxious, right? So I teach people how to do it really quick. And if you forget a point, if you say something's wrong, it's not a big deal, right? You're doing it. Some of it's about intention, but also as long as you're just hitting the points and tuning in to what it is, like it's really a simple tool. And that's why I love it. That's why it's become like my new obsession, if we can say obsession.
Oh, I think we are definitely, when it comes to natural self-help and natural healing, for me, it started off as a result of my son at the age of 3, 4, 5, just getting terrible diseases that were questionable. I mean, they weren't the norm. I mean, who gets scarlatina, for Pete's sake, at a creche?
Wow.
Nobody could work out what it was. It went from, because he'd had pneumonia as a 7-month-old baby, he was in hospital for 7 days with that, because he'd spent 7 months basically from his 4.5 month slot into creche just from one antibiotic, dose to the next, that he ended up so sick. So when he started showing the symptoms of the scarlatina, they immediately wanted to check his chest, told me he had pneumonia, then it was bronchitis, then it was something else, but nobody could put their finger on it. And that is the second time I discovered the power of homeopathy, because there's a very incredible homeopath here. And she's actually the one who put her finger on it. And we struggled 4 or 5 days of terrible high fevers and lots of other symptoms that were very traumatizing for a little 4-year-old. But thanks to homeopathy, we found the answer. And that's what started me off on the journey of trying to learn how to choose a natural remedy for him and go the herbal route, the health route, watch what he ate. Try and change the paradigm of the first thing you want to do is immediately grab the chips and the sweets and give that as a treat, when in actual fact, why don't you just spend some quality time with your child? Surely that's a bigger treat. And even if you put out popcorn and a healthy snack, it's that valuable interaction that actually turns out to be a better treat, because they're with you. You don't need to feed them junk for them to feel loved and happy and content. So it really is a case of shifting the paradigm. So as I slowly learned about crystals and herbs and homeopathic remedies and flower and gem essences, which are a very integral part of not just my children's lives, but my clients' lives and my pets, because there's not one pet that I haven't dosed with a good dose of flower essences. I could tell you, they're the go-to number one. And since I discovered EFT, you'll find me hiding in a little corner somewhere, tapping away. So just to put you on the spot today, how about you teach our audience a little simple way of using EFT? Would you be interested to share? Because I do know how to tap, so we can work together maybe.
Absolutely. So really, it's about focusing. The more specific you are about the situation, the better off you're going to be. So first of all, and your brain doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future, which is why you can think about something tomorrow and worry, or you can think about something yesterday and feel fear, and you feel it in your body, right? And it creates the same reactions if it's right now.
Okay, so maybe we should concentrate on, since we're all pretty much struggling the same thing, how about our overwhelm over getting clients?
Okay, so yes, so we can think about that. That's still pretty general. Okay. Right? Because overwhelm of getting clients means what? Like, is it about my marketing? Okay. Is it about my blah, blah?
Yes. How about being clear? Because being clear seems to be what the biggest struggle is with us, is that there are so many people doing what we do. How do we find the clarity?
Right. Okay. So think about a place that you're unclear, right? So maybe everybody could just do this. Just write down one challenge they're having with getting new clients. Like maybe they don't think they have their avatar right, or maybe they're not sure if they're speaking to their avatar. Maybe they're not sure if they're using the correct colors on their website. Just write down 1 or 2 things and just notice, how strong is that? Like what do you feel about it when you think about it? Like what's the emotion? Do you feel it anywhere in your body? And just write that down really quick. Like, are you feeling a feeling of anxiousness or depression or sadness, or I feel like I'm not good enough, or I feel like I'm, overwhelmed, like you mentioned. Okay. And then we're going to tap on that. And actually people can tap on, whatever it is that we're saying, and actually your own stuff will change. So Natalie, tell me, what is it that you're feeling? What's the situation that you're thinking about? What did you write down, if you want to share?
Okay, so mine was, I'm feeling intense anxiousness with regards to getting my message right. I urgently need to start making money so I can be strong and secure and stop having to live under somebody else's regime. And I'm feeling it in my chest, and it's very overwhelming. I can't breathe.
All right, so that's a lot. So see how you added. So tell me just the first part again. So the first part is say it again. So you were feeling anxious in your chest.
Yeah, anxious in my chest with regards to getting my message right so that I'm clear to my audience.
Okay, perfect. So even though I feel anxious in my chest.
Even though I feel anxious in my chest.
As I think about getting my message right for my audience.
As I think about getting my message right for my audience.
I'm open to letting this go.
I'm open to letting this go.
So this is for everybody. So you see how we're doing the situation, the emotion, and the body part, tapping on the side of the hand. And then we're doing an acceptance phrase that's positive and in the present, right? So it can be, I'm open to letting this go. I accept myself. I know I'm a great business owner. Anyway, any of those, anything that's really positive. Not I hope to, not I wish, but like I am, right? Okay. So even though I feel anxious in my chest.
Even though I feel anxious in my chest.
Because I want to get the right message to my audience.
Because I want to get the right message to my audience.
I'm not sure if I'm doing it right.
I'm not sure if I'm doing it right.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
So even though I feel anxious in my chest.
Even though I feel anxious in my chest.
As I focus on this message to my audience.
As I focus on this message to my audience.
I want to get it right.
I want to get it right.
So I can attract my clients.
So I can attract my clients.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
All right. And so everybody, all the rest of the points, you're just going to say the emotion and the body part. So the first one's the top of the head. Feeling anxious in my chest. Perfect.
Feeling anxious in my chest.
Great. The next one's between the eyes, right in the corner of the eyes. You can tap one side, both sides, doesn't matter. Yeah, perfect. Anxious in my chest.
I'm anxious in my chest.
Great. Side of the eye, right at the temple. Feeling anxious in my chest. Once again, one side, two sides, doesn't matter. Perfect. Under the eye, right at the cheekbone, anxious in my chest.
Anxious in my chest.
Under the nose, anxious in my chest.
Anxious in my chest.
Under the mouth, anxious in my chest.
Anxious in my chest.
Under the collarbone, anxious in my chest.
Anxious in my chest.
And under the arm, anxious in my chest.
Anxious in my chest.
Perfect. Then you take a breath. And now notice the level of intensity. So normally if I was working with you as a client, I would have had you rate it. How strong is it from 0 to 10? And then we would have checked to see, has the intensity gone down or has the emotion changed or has the body part changed?
Well, I definitely say it came down to a 3 from about at least an 8.
Perfect. Lovely. And that's what we want to see, is we want to see some kind of change. Now, if you tapped on yourself with your own, when you're tapping on your own things and nothing changes, chances are you're too broad. Right? In other words, it's too big of a subject, like you're tapping on all of your finances, right? So then you want to narrow it down to something more specific in order to see change. Yep. So that's kind of the quick down and dirty of how to use EFT fast. Also, I just want to give the caveat, please do not use it for trauma yourself. Please get support if it's something traumatic. Otherwise, it can create some challenges in your body. So
that's awesome. And that's where we're going to send them straight over to our Facebook group, which is Transform Your Pain to Power, where Dawn Bennett is one of my experts. And we're going to be starting to build up an educational portal at the back where you will have access to Dawn and access to tapping videos, which will help you with dealing with specific traumas, whether it's surviving an avalanche, sexual abuse, anything of that nature that is very high intensity. And as I say, you can have direct access to Dawn so that you can contact her and get a one-on-one and move through that exceptional, which can be pretty detrimental to your health if you don't find the right specialist to help you.
Right. And I want to be a little bit clear. The videos themselves will not be on trauma because there's different techniques for trauma. We use something completely different, but the videos will be on things that can help you in your daily life. And then if you want help with trauma, I do an hour consultation for free and we can chat about what that would look like.
That's awesome.
Because videos on trauma can be traumatizing. So we don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's all about finding that safe, healthy way, because your mind is actually as powerful as it can be. You can also cause some detrimental long-term effects that you don't need to get involved in. And, you know, we already have so much going on. We need to be moving forward, not putting hurdles in the way, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that, Dawn. Thank you so much for teaching us. That was very exciting. And I'm sure that our audience is going to learn a lot from what they've just seen today. Another thing I'd like to ask is, do you have any suggestions you'd offer our listeners when they face similar challenges to what you have as a busy entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it sounds trite to say, right? Because everyone says it, but take time for yourself. Like if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're not moving, you're not going to be the best you, and you're not going to bring any energy to your business, and you're going to get drained and overwhelmed. And people can sense that. Like, I don't care how good of a face you put on of like, I'm strong, I'm tough, I can handle it all. like there's an energy that's transmitted unconsciously, and we pick up on that in each other, and it will turn your clients away because they'll sense that there's something's disconnected, right? Same thing if you're always trying to draw clients and you're desperate for clients, people can sense that desperation. So really just sit back in yourself, take care of yourself, trust that if they're the right clients, that you'll create that connection. And if they're not, it's okay. There's enough for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that one. I just recently had one of those clients that's probably not my best one. And it is to accept that for the one that moved out the way, so did two huge, big opportunities step in instead. So yeah, like you say, I love that. Big trust, something we should stick on the wall that we see every time we fall off the trolley. Right?
And it sounds so easy and it's so hard. Some days you're just like, why? It is. Our little human brains are like, make it happen.
But that takes us back to the support system. This YouTube interview that I'm doing goes on to the Explore ProTech Entrepreneurial Havens YouTube channel, and that is a powerful tribe of people that support each other in business. So find your tribe and find a tribe that resonates with you. And if you take time to find it, don't be scared. You will eventually land at that place where you're going to find exactly the people you need that are going to just hold you there. When you want to fall, they will be there to hold you up.
Yes.
All about tribe.
I love it. It really is. I mean, we're herd mammals, right? Like as much as we're humans, we're also herd mammals, and we need tribe to really thrive, I believe.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
I agree. If we didn't come to this planet alone, we came here as a pack. And maybe our pack evolves and our pack changes, and some come in and some go out. At the end of the day, like you say, pack, herd, people, that's what gives us power. And that's what gives us purpose. Because if you're just living for yourself, there's nothing bigger than you that gets you out of bed in the morning.
Right. Except maybe food. That might get, and my bladder. My bladder sometimes gets, but you're right. Just kidding. Sorry.
Take it to the grassroots, right? For me, it's coffee. But anyway,
there you go.
And I'm not saying coffee or cruda either from the homeopathic remedies. It's a good
right.
Real
stuff.
Spoken to the true sources here.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered quite a bit today. So can you tell us, how could you help our audience if they reached out for a one-on-one, or do you have any programs in place?
Yeah, so I have like a deeper dive strategy session that I do with people. You can find it in my link tree. I also do like a little quick 20-minute if people just want to chat really quick, but if people really want to get into like the deeper stuff, there's an hour-long session there that I do with people. And my passion is just to serve, right? So what I like to do is just help you find out like we all know kind of, I think, what we're struggling with and maybe where we want to go. And then I help suggest tools that might help you get there. So whether it be, here's how EFT can help you, or whether it be, hey, I know this really amazing coach that would be really great for you, or have you tried this? Have you tried that? I just really feel like that time together is really a time for me to be of service. And so I do have programs where we have long-term relationships for 8 months. But it really depends on what each individual needs, how much other support they're getting. So it's an individual basis, but yeah. And I've got my YouTube channel. I've got all kinds of resources.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel. What do you cover there?
Yeah, so I have my Old Touch Remedies channel, which I started doing stuff on relationships and tapping, and I'm going to get back to adding more tapping videos there as well. But I just started a new channel that I'm super excited about called Nature of Relationships, because as I travel, like I'll be hiking and be like thinking about relationships. Oh, this avalanche reminds me of like when everything goes to heck in a relationship, just, And so what I'm starting to do now is to create fun, playful, educational videos. So they haven't been as fun and playful, I think, lately, because I'm so focused on doing it right that I realized like these aren't as fun and playful as I mentioned. Anyway, but they're about just little tips and tricks on how to have better relationships, or maybe how to have better communication, or maybe how to say yes or no, or create boundaries, or whatever it is. So I'm doing some for people in relationships, I'm doing some for singles, and eventually we'll be doing interviews there too. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm relating it to nature. Like the sun always gives to us, right? And it's always like the universe is always giving to us. So taking that in, allowing that to rejuvenate us. And then how do we pass that on gently through our connections and relationships? So that's my new channel. And that's my new, not obsession, my new passion right now, I guess. Now that my book exciting. Is in its rough draft stages. So
your yes. New what? What was that?
My second new book, yes.
Okay.
So The Touch Crisis is already out. I have another book that is unnamed right now about communication, how to build better relationships post-COVID. So the rough draft's done. It is in test readers' hands, and I'm hoping to have that out in 3 months.
Oh, I'm very excited about that. Tell us a little bit about your first book, since I haven't asked you that question yet.
Oh, yeah. My first book is called The Touch Crisis. You can find it on Amazon. The subtitle is Navigating the Tricky Terrain and Bringing Healthy Touch Back into Our Community. And I actually wrote it before COVID. It came out during COVID. So it was kind of a really interesting synergistic thing. But it's about finding out what our old wants and needs. How do we create intention and safety around touch? How do we bring it in the larger community? How do we have compassion and curiosity for those that don't have the same touch needs as we do? How do we say yes to a person and no to touch if we don't want that physical contact? And I'm talking everything like hugs, handshakes, like the whole deal, not just like sexual touch. I'm talking about like, how do we interact as a community and allow ourselves to really connect and contact again, and not be scared about putting our hand on someone's shoulder or asking somebody, can I put my hand on your shoulder? How does that look, without it feeling awkward and stuff. So that's my book.
Wow, that's really powerful. Thank you. I'm glad that I got to ask you that question. As a busy entrepreneur, even just an individual, there's nothing that's more important than, firstly, our relationships between each other. Secondly, because of all of the terrible situations we've been through myself with sexual harassment even, and issues in the workplace, issues within your own home, issues with the friends and family, outside your box, this does put you in a position where you're too scared to give touch, let alone receive touch. So I think that's a very powerful book. I will most certainly be looking for it, because I think we honestly need to learn how to find that balance again, because back to the whole pack animal, touch is probably one of the biggest things I have missed in the COVID period. Now with my daughter not being here, now I don't have hugs at all. And it is such a gap in your life when you're a touchy-feely person and you come from a family that always hugs, puts their arms around you when they have a fat conversation. Hell, even when you have a fight, the first thing they do is hug you sorry. So there's so much touch within your life as you're growing up, predominantly in a touchy family, that it becomes quite difficult and quite lonely when that moves out of your space. And if there's one thing we know, is when you have a little kitten, you can't touch that kitten that's just been born, but mommy has to persistently lick and touch and cuddle, or that kitten will not survive. Because touch is the most important part of every organism's ability to grow and thrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without it, what are we?
I know. And there's scientific studies to show it too,
Oh, absolutely. It's quite an interesting topic, I can tell you. We could probably talk for hours on just some of these little things that you've touched on. I'm really excited about that. Anyway, thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate your time and all the awesome information you've shared with our audience. I'm sure that they are going to be bouncing over to all of those links in the description so that they can connect with you, like, subscribe, find out more. Step out there and see what it's like to be a busy entrepreneur with the tools that can give you that secure foundation. So you too can become a nomad like Dawn, close the doors, leave the business running on its own, and follow your heart and your passion. I like that idea.
Great.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, my dear.